Yo guys, what is going on? It is Invin here, and today what I'm bringing to you guys is some activities that you can do daily in New World to become more efficient. Now I'm going to include things that are going to be relevant for every type of progression, as well as some things that are specifically for the mid to late game players, and some things that will help the starter players out as well. So pick and choose what you want from this, but most of these are kind of universal points, such as I'm going to touch on faction missions, which can be done at any point during your progression, just in the relevant zones. So I'm going to try to keep to that as much as I can, but of course some stuff is going to evolve around endgame content, as that is where you're going to see a lot of your daily and weekly cooldowns. Now the reason for making this video at this point is because with the Heart of Madness patch, we did of course see the introduction of global cooldowns. Now what that means is that every single day at 5 AM server time, whichever server you're on, when you press escape and look at the server time, when it hits 5 AM of that day, all of your daily cooldowns will be reset, and that is across the board for everybody, regardless of what time you previously did these cooldown activities at. Even if you did them at 4:59 AM, they will then reset a minute later. So it's up to you when you want to do these, and of course that is globally across the board. Now, weekly cooldowns, there may be some mention of these during the video. These are on Tuesdays at 5 AM, so once every week, and they will be reset at that point. But other than that, we're going to be jumping straight into it. If you do want to see more New World content, you are new to the channel, or you're not new to the channel, you've been watching the videos, but you haven't yet subscribed, please do go down below and press the big red subscribe button with the notification bells on, so that you don't miss an upload. I'm going to be covering news, tips, tricks, updates, all of that good stuff for New World here on the channel, and I do upload every single day, so I would love to have you guys here as part of my channel community. And without further ado, let's jump into it. So first things first, we're going to be looking at faction missions. Now, whichever stage of the game you are at, the faction missions are going to be a great way to earn yourself both tokens and gold. Now, if you're in the lower levels, then you want to do this in a relative zone to where you're at. So, for example, I'm in Shattered Mountains right now, which is a level 60 plus area, and that's for endgame players only. But if you're still in the leveling process, do this in Everfall, do this in Monarch's Bluff, do it in Weaver's Fen, do it in Brightwood. Wherever you are currently up to with kind of your main story progression is where I would recommend doing this within a comfortable level range so that you can complete the quests, because these are a great way to earn yourself gold and faction tokens. Now, usually these can be done with expeditions, again, whatever level you're at, the most relevant expedition for you, and that is what I would recommend indeed, of course, for the end game players. Whether you want to do this for the brand new Tempest Heart one, you can get 2 of the quests, like you'll see here. I have 2 expedition quests right now on my board, and you can also get this for all of the mutated areas, so whichever activity you're already going to do that day, double up and get the quest done for it as well. Now, for those that aren't aware what this faction daily bonus is, roughly you get about 10 times the amount of gold you would normally get from a quest, and with the introduction with the Heart of Madness patch, we actually get 5 times the amount of faction tokens, which means that you can nicely stack up on a bit of gold per day, and also a nice amount of faction tokens, which you use to buy rewards from the faction shop. Now, we're going to move on to some of these things later on, but such as tuning orbs, chisels, Gypsum orbs, all of that good stuff, which you're certainly going to want to take advantage of. Now, in terms of which is the best ones to do, if you are an endgame player, Shattered Mountains, Eden's Grove, Ebonscale Reach or Reekwater are by far your best choices. If you can get the expedition ones for the related zone, whether you're doing Tempest Heart or any of the mutations, then definitely grab those ones, as you're going to be doing the expedition anyway. You're going to get these completed. It's very easy to do 2 for 1. However, what you will notice is that you do get slightly more in terms of tokens from some of the PvP missions. Some of the expedition ones, like these 2, are way better than the first 2. If you do actually get the PvP mission completed where it's defeating Syndicate and Covenant members, you will get more tokens. However, you'll notice it is less gold. So it's up to you. If you're really on the token grind, try to get that one done for the PvP missions. However, generally, and this is the same across the whole board, the expedition PvE ones are slightly better. You will notice though that the regular PvE ones are much worse than the PvP. So do take your time to re-roll some of these to get the best quests for you of the day, as it is only the first 3 per day that give the bonus. Now, if you want to see how much of the bonus you have left active, top left of this interface where I'm wiggling the mouse on screen, you can see it says daily bonuses available, and for me right now it is 3 of 3. Tells you where you are, and obviously then you can get the first 3 rewards per day, and this is across all territories. So if I do 2 here and 1 somewhere else, that's 3 done. It's not 3 per territory, and like I said, the bonus is only active for those first 3. So, generally speaking, if you can get the expedition ones for endgame players or any other stage players, that is the best and easiest way I've found to do it, but by all means, do whichever ones you want, but do take advantage of this every single day, otherwise you are missing out on a ton of gold and a ton of faction tokens. Now, the next thing that we're going to be talking about here is Gypsum Orbs. Now, of course, some players may be maxed out with most of their expertise all the way up to 600 by now, but for those players that aren't, you certainly want to be doing this daily with as many of these as you can. Obviously, they come from different activities, and again, all of these are pretty much a daily reset, so you can go ahead and do these after 5 AM your server time every single day, and obviously, some are much easier to do than others. But with, of course, the brand new blunderbuss just coming out, most players will be wanting to do this one to get it leveled up. So therefore, I thought this is worth mentioning for every single player at the moment. And most people don't have every weapon to 600, especially not with the new releases coming out. And of course, we will have the greatsword in autumn as well. So obviously, you've got your different activities. You've got emerald from your trade skill aptitudes. You've got amethyst from your portals. You've got ruby from OPR, etc. So whichever activity you want to do per day, whether you can do a few or just 1 or 2 of them, it's entirely up to you. But what I would also say is that once you are tier 5 in your faction, you can go to the rewards shop and click down to it, and you can also buy in the bottom left every single day 1 gypsum orb. It costs no gold, just 7,000 tokens. So that's why it's important to do those daily reset faction missions, because then you've got enough resources to buy things like this. It is a free gypsum orb that you can get every single day, but you just need to pay the tokens for it, so you need to keep on top of your missions. Now, do try and get these done every single day, and if you are at max expertise of 600 or above on something, if you've only got 1 or 2 items you still need to get to 600 expertise, use the rest of your additional gypsum orbs on the highest rated items you have. So if you have, for example, a 622 chestplate, use that one as your first orb. Then maybe you've got a 620 great axe, use that as your second orb. So any spares that you have using on the highest gear score pieces, and that is because they will provide you with the biggest amount of umbral shards in return for a gypsum orb and a gypsum cast, therefore netting you the biggest return on your investment, which is exactly what you want to be doing to keep that progression going. Now, the next thing that we're going to be talking about here is again in the faction shop. This place is great for your daily cooldowns and things of that nature. What you guys will see is, of course, the expedition tuning orbs. Now, what you will always want to do is buy your mutated one as soon as it is off cooldown, even if you can't do these mutations yet, or you can only do the first few levels. Always get this one, because it is a 3-day cooldown, which is probably the longest one out of most of these things, and it is something, once you get to a point where you're grinding these out, you can never have enough of them, because as soon as you get one set to maximum and you can do 625 mutation 10s, you can then get all of the other gear sets that you want up there. So it's a continuous loop of wanting these keys. So always buy that off cooldown. It is 500 gold and 10,000 tokens, but if you are doing your daily faction missions like I talked about before, you should have no problem getting this, and it is super crucial. Now, the other 3 that you can get here are the Genesis, the Lazarus, and the Tempest Heart Tuning Orb. Do note as well that on the tier 4 variation of this, you can also get a Dynasty Tuning Orb, but for those people that are at the end game, this is the level 55 variant, so it's only really worth doing on mutations. Now, with these tuning orbs, particularly Lazarus, Tempest Heart, and Genesis, these are all going to net you a profit despite being 425 or 450 gold to buy, plus the tokens. Obviously, the tokens are going to be the important thing here, but the gold you will get back from raw drops, and of course, item drops within there, whether it's gear, whether it's timeless shards, or whether it's something that you've been trying to get a hold of, such as a named item or weapon, for quite a while, and then obviously that kind of brings its back own return, but usually you'll get enough raw gold from killing the mobs and bosses in there to cover the cost of the charge. Now, of course, you could sell slots to your group for a couple of 100 gold each and still make a good profit too, so there's lots of ways to make these viable, but if you've got a good group ready to go, or at least a consistent group ready to go whenever you have these keys, you should be buying them off cooldown, or at least as soon as you've got a group, buy one and get in there with it, because you are going to make a profit from them, and it is a good way to get all of your expertise up, particularly with the new blunderbuss, and of course when the greatsword comes out, as it is guaranteed to give you at least a couple of expertise bumps per dungeon, and of course you will be getting some timeless shards, which usually are either quite expensive or useful to craft with, so it's a win-win all around there. Now, we've just jotted over to Winswood for this next one, but it is going to be keeping on top of your daily crafts. As you can see, these have a 24-hour cooldown, or indeed now with the global cooldown are reset at 5 AM every single server time when it hits that. Now, these are really important to keep on top of as soon as you hit the required level. It does require you to be level 200 in the respective refining skill. So as you guys can see on screen, my smelting, my weaving, and my leatherworking are all past level 200. However, my stone cutting is 8 levels off, and my woodworking is a little bit to go on that as well. But once those reach 200, I will unlock glittering ebony daily craft, and I'll be able to craft runestone for my stone cutting to get keystones going. But what is really important is as soon as you do unlock those, for example Asmodium with your smelting, is that you do these every single day. Even if they are expensive, I know Orichalcum is expensive, Tolvium's fairly expensive, and so is Cinnabar on most servers, it is still going to be super worthwhile, as because these are limited to 10 per day, obviously without the set bonuses that might give you a couple of extras. These are in high demand and there is not a huge amount of them around, so you are going to make money off selling them. Alternatively, you can craft with them and hope to roll a really good item which you can then either use or sell as well. So either way, you're going to be in profit most of the time with these items, and therefore you should be doing them every single day. I know most servers, including my own, which is Dry Tree in EU, we can sell these pretty much instantly on the trading post or to other players, so I would imagine most servers have these in high demand. So it's certainly something you want to be doing and aiming towards getting to 200 in if you haven't done so, because you are going to make money off this, and it is something that you can do every single day. Now, the next thing that is going to be a daily activity that you can do throughout Aeternum is actually your elite zones. So for example, the Scorched Mines is kind of a fan favourite at the moment. A lot of people running this one. It's fairly simplistic to follow, lots of mobs, lots of chests, and lots of elite chests. So any of these, Merc Guard, you go down here to Caminus, you can go over to some of the other areas like Reekwater and the Siren Stand area, and all of these are great to do as the elite chests are a daily reset. So that 5 AM cutoff point where the server resets your global cooldowns is going to be the same for your elite chests. Now, bear in mind that you can get the supply crates and other stuff like that multiple times per day. I think they reset every 3 to 4 hours, maybe even quicker now. So you can get those multiple times, but the elite chests, which are the ones that give you the chance at an expertise bump or a timeless shard drop, are only once per day, and that is reset at the 5 AM global cooldown. Now, the reason you want to be doing these, like I said, timeless shards, you can get legendary gear, you can get expertise bumps, you can get rare materials, rare items, and trophy materials from these, which is a really, really good opportunity. And of course, you can level up any of your weapons, should you want to be doing that whilst you're going along. But another really big incentive for these that came into fruition with the Heart of Madness patch is, of course, the ability to drop arena keys, that is the full arena key, from the related elite zones. So, for example, the Siren Arena, if you do the elite zone in the Siren Strand, particularly the Forecastle Drift area, the mobs here have a chance to be dropping the arena keys. So not only are you looting lots of reagents from the chests and crafting materials, then you've got your elite chests, the chance at Obsidian Gypsum from some of the named bosses. You also now have the chance at an arena key as well, which is really, really cool, and is an extra layer on top of it, which helps you when you're running these daily to just get an extra little reward for doing that, which in my opinion is great, and it makes it even more worthwhile to be doing, especially when there's new things to get expertise for, and timeless shards are never a bad thing to get, as either expensive or can be useful for crafting, like I said before. Now, the final thing here is to check your market prices. If you're someone that likes flipping goods on the market, whether it's going to be hyssop or whether it's going to be infused health pots, whatever you want to kind of get the most out of, whether it's Orichalcum ingots, check the prices daily so that you are up to date with those, of course. But more importantly, for most players, most regular players like myself that don't spend an awful lot of time on the market, one really important thing to do is check daily to see if anybody has posted something that is going to be useful for your build. Maybe it's a great axe with refreshing move that you've been really looking to get your hands on, and somebody posts one for a much cheaper price than usual as they need to get rid of it as they're running low on gold. This could be happy days for you, so make sure you are checking that. I know it's not strictly a daily cooldown thing, but it is a really useful tip that you can do. I have managed to snag some really good gear pieces from the auction house for just a few thousand gold, actually some best in slot pieces for under 20,000 gold, because people have just wanted to sell them quickly. They don't think it's that useful for their build, they want to get rid of it, and so they list it for silly low prices basically, and you can get your hands on that for some nice rewards to yourself, really improve your build with it. So it is super worthwhile doing. I know it's not strictly a cooldown, so that's why I've snuck it in at the end here, but it is something I do every single day, and I would highly recommend you guys do the same thing. So that is pretty much going going to cover all of the things I think that you should do daily in Aeternum, or that you can do daily if you want to in Aeternum, to be efficient at whatever stage of the game you're at, to progress your levels, get further and more advanced, get yourself some gold, some faction tokens, and be on top of your game in whichever way you would like to be. Now obviously there is other things you can do as well, so if you've got any daily tips and tricks for other players, do be sure to leave them in the comments down below, as it's massively helpful to support each other in our community here. But these are my sort of top tips and the things that I do daily to help myself progress and keep at the top of the game here in New World, so hopefully these tips and tricks do help you out. Now if you have found this video useful, please be sure to drop a like down below, as that massively helps to support my content here on my YouTube channel. And if you are new, you want to see more New World content, like I said at the beginning of today's video, make sure that you're dropping a subscribe with the notification bell on so that you don't miss an upload. I do upload every single day, so it'd be amazing to have you guys here as part of my channel community for that. And other than that, that is going to be it for today's video. So thank you for your time, thank you for watching, and I will catch you again very, very shortly with a brand new upload. Take care, guys, and peace.